Welcome to the Lovetarian Way podcast, where we interview magical creators and creatrices focused on bringing win-win-win solutions the Lovetarian way. Hello, beautiful Lovetarians. This is Natalia PH and my beautiful guest, Karima Kaart. Welcome, Karima.
Thank you for having me here.
We have camera there. We're seeing you here, so we need to switch our focus a little bit.
No problem.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about technicalities here. If you are new to StreamYard, you have not seen a transmission like that, please give permission if you're watching on Facebook to StreamYard to show your name so that we can see if you want to interact with us. If you have any questions, then please give permission. There is a text next to this video, and you just click on that and everything is perfect. Otherwise, if you can't find it, just if you have questions, put those in the comment box and we'll address you by your name. All right. So thank you for that. That is out of the way. Welcome to the Lovetarian Way podcast. And we will be talking today about energy, reading energy healing, and the 4 pillars of the Lovetarian way, right? So
Yes.
my beautiful guest here, she describes herself as a wanderer
Yeah.
who is in awe of life.
Most of the time, yes.
And you are a very intuitive healer. You are intuitive energy reader. Could you tell us a little bit about your path and what is actually energy for you?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. What is energy for me? It's actually all around us, right? And in the beginning, I'm not doing this work for long, but it's kind of remembering what I already have. And sometimes it was a bit confusing because, with my academic side, so to speak, it was like, but come on, you need to show to the people that you've had your diploma and this and this and that. And to a certain extent, I did some courses, of course, but I blended with my own, creativity that I already have inside. And I'm learning every day even more. It's like beautiful. It's
Right.
But to put it in one box or to give it words, it's actually kind of very difficult to do that. Yeah.
So how would you, so if a person doesn't know who they are, what do you tell them who they are? Are they humans? How do you explain it to them, right? Because a lot of people struggle because they know something is going on. There's some energy, but can't put my finger on it, right?
Yeah. Well, basically what I say is what I believe is we're part of a collective consciousness, and we're having this in this time frame, having a human experience. And actually you can see it as a sort of a reincarnation game. I always like to say it. And where you have your avatars and you meet other people, and sometimes they are very familiar to you. You just feel it. It's like a knowing. And maybe you did some more lives together, and you play actually this game. And depending on when you are born and where, I'm not into astrology, I don't know, but some of the people need to learn to deal with emotions, or other people are create things from the ground off, other are helpers. And it's actually a beautiful thing.
So what you do actually helps people to, pillar 1 of the Lovetarian way is accept 100% responsibility for your life. And the way we explain it is accept the fact that you are energy being. First of all, who is having a human experience at this moment in time. So actually you're very powerful, because did you know, people, that 99.999% of everything in existence is energy, and only 0.000001% is actually matter? So why is it that we focus on the material stuff more than actually expressing ourselves as energy beings? Isn't that funny?
I know, because that's, they call it the 3D
Illusion.
life experience, and I think it's the matrix where we live
Yes,
in
yes.
also, and we have this part of our brain which is the more reptilian
Yeah.
part. So we think that we only can perceive by our five senses.
Mhm.
And there is actually more to it. So when people
There
come
is
to
more.
me, I love to be sort of a conduit to help them remember
Yeah.
who they are and what they are capable of. And
Yes.
it's actually this inner journey. That's why my website also called Inner Journey.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
Karima's website is innerjourney.com, right?
Inner Journey the tent.
The tent. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll show
Yeah.
it to you. You can see it at the bottom. So basically, what you are doing, you are helping people experience themselves as energy beings.
Yes.
And you are helping them become aware of what energies they actually exude and take in.
Also to relieve some blockages.
Okay, what are the blockages then? What are, like, where are they? Like, what do you mean by blockages? Can you explain a
Yeah,
little
well, what I do is when I connect to the physical body, so I work on a very grounded way. Although we're talking about energy, still I sit on the ground. People are lying on a mattress, and it's in a lovely glamping tent,
Yes,
a nice environment, also a
it is
protective
nice.
womb. Yeah,
I
it's also what they
experienced
say.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And so I work through the different layers actually. So on a physical level, emotional level, mental level, Buddhic, atmic, galactic. It goes very high.
Yes.
And the blockages can be on a very physical level. Around the hip area or where they have sciatic pain. I hear sometimes that they say, yeah, you really relieved my back
Maybe
pain.
it's a good time to say to our audience that we believe, and all the research really points this now, the quantum physics, neuroscience, new biology, that body is indeed a blueprint of all those subtle
Yes.
fields, subtle energy fields. So she's mentioned here emotional, mental, spiritual, and your body is like a subconscious mind that stores all those unhealed emotions, unhealed pains, traumas in the cells of your carbon-based DNA.
Yes, absolutely.
But we can actually heal it. That's the good news. We can heal it, and we're going to give you some pointers and tips. But number one, take 100% responsibility for your healing.
Yeah. So it can be on a physical level, but it can also bring me to past lives. And maybe that sounds a bit woo-woo, but well, I say past lives, but I believe it's multidimensional lives. When you come into this quantum field, actually, everything is like a circular timeline and not a linear timeline.
Yes.
I can tap into that. And for instance, there was a woman, she came to me and she really wished to be pregnant. And but somehow there was a blockage. And this time, because I never know in advance how my session will go, right? So I tapped into her field and I could see in one of her lives, she was like a sort of a maid, helping other people. And she was nurturing the babies, but she always thought, yeah, I am poor. I can't bring a child to my own because I'm like, I don't have the circumstances. So what I wanted to say with this is that the memories are stored in the cell. So it convinced her almost like, oh no, I can't. So that's what I mean with the blockages. And how I do it, really, I don't know, but I just make it neutral, going to, maybe you can say it as a 0-point field where there are infinite
You're
possibilities.
recalibrating,
So you detach yourself from that past life with all your thinking that you, and it's on a very subconscious level, of course.
I will translate it to you scientifically in a moment, but keep going.
Yeah, so well, that was one of the examples to relieve that blockage. I have also people from they had lives as also as energy healers or alchemists. They were in these sort of secret groups where they did these Bible teachings, but it was not allowed at that time. So it's kind of funny to talk about that because it's for me it's so normal when I work, and then I can see some entities that are also attached to it. So it's not allowed to go into your power. So you think, why?
So you're giving people like energetic reset and reboot,
oh
right?
absolutely,
Basically,
yeah. And it's it's not me. We say
You are
healer.
like a conduit.
Yes,
Yeah.
I prefer that more because I also get something out
Yes.
of it.
Yes.
This is the old ways where you think, oh, you go to a healer and he will fix you. No, you fix yourself. But
100% responsibility, because
yes,
you have a free
yes,
will, right? We were by our source, by God, whatever you want to call it. We know, I mean, how do I know? Because I have been initiating also with, different ascended masters, and my higher self informed me many times over many, many, many years in this lifetime that I have a free will.
yeah,
A free will. And that means that unless I'm going to agree, and my higher self, the highest part of myself, right, the connected directly to the source energy, if I'm going to say yes to you, then you can do things
yeah,
for me. But if I say no,
it's not
I
going to
mean, there are
happen.
people who are still going for it and are trying to change other people's energy without permission, but then they are
Yeah.
building up this doo-doo poo-poo in their own energy fields, because they're interfering with the law of sovereignty, right, and
Absolutely.
freedom.
Yeah.
So basically, I give you permission, and then I need to be receptive to the healing that you are going to create, right?
I do believe it always helps.
Mm-hmm.
But the first part that you said, you
Mm-hmm.
need to say a bit, yeah, you need
Yes.
to, I need to feel a big yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I have sometimes clients, they want to come for a third or fourth time. And I don't feel a yes yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be very logic from
Yes.
3D perspective. Yeah, but you need to earn money, so come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
But this is not. I consider this work, or maybe a gift that I have, as very sacred.
Yes.
So it means if I don't feel a yes, then it's just not the timing yet.
Exactly. And
I'm
that's
not gonna
beautiful.
fix
Yes.
people. No.
Yes, no, absolutely. And honestly, from all the studies I have done, research, from my memories, from my parallel, I don't call them past lifetimes, parallel
Parallel lives.
lifetimes,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is so, so, so super important that we will respect everybody's divine free will and
Yes.
everybody's um, responsibility, really, because
Yeah.
like pillar 2 actually of the Lovetarian way guides us that we are all connected, right, in this beautiful field of infinite possibilities, field of God, source field, whatever, quantum field. We are all connected, right, energetically.
Yeah.
Yet we are like sovereign rays of that beautiful source that created us. So I cannot, well, I could, and I did in the past, force my will on other people. But I did not help myself very much. It's much better to ask,
Yeah.
to be compassionate and gentle, because as you just said, some people are going through things and they are really not ready to let go
No,
yet. It's not
no,
their time, and it's
exactly.
not our job.
I can give you an example,
Yes.
which is that's a subject which is very dear to my heart, from people who suffer from addiction of pharmaceuticals. And there was one young man who came to me, and he recently had his medication, his doses went up. And he had like this fired up nervous system, was so
Mhm.
nervous. So I said, and he wasn't not into energy healing whatsoever. So
Okay.
he didn't know what to expect, and he was a bit nervous about it. So I said, just lie down, receive, and we're gonna do this in silence.
Yes.
By the way, I want to mention I also work with the Sylvecchio sound frequencies. There's a
Okay.
whole
Yes.
science behind that, and that
Absolutely.
is amazing.
We did a podcast with Theo Newton, a friend of mine who is a New Age composer, and please check it out. Then you will find out what frequencies do what
Yeah.
actually and how they influence your body. Huh?
Yeah, so he was lying down, and I was doing the healing in silence for about 35 minutes, and he completely calmed down. And he said, I have no words. I have literally no words, but I can
Yeah.
feel it's. I said, you don't need to.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
to experience,
Yeah.
right? So after a while, he wanted to come back. I said, yes, we can see. Let's say I'm not a medical doctor. I will
Mhm.
never give medical advice,
No.
right?
Yes.
So again, that's the path that I'm not touching. But because I have my own experience with pharmaceuticals, I've done my own healing journey. So I feel very compassionate to help him.
Yes.
But I'm not going to force him to come
No.
the next time. He felt like really, I don't know what to do with it.
Mhm.
So one day he called me, and he said to me, normally I sleep only 2 or 3 hours a night. And Karima, I just needed to tell you that
How
night when I came
beautiful.
back, I slept 14 hours straight.
Oh,
And I
that's
was like,
wonderful.
wow. And I needed to say him, it's not me who is doing it.
Exactly.
It's your own
No,
body.
I really appreciate you saying that. I
And that
really
was
appreciate you
fantastic.
saying that. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, my fixer in me, the helper,
Yes.
says, "Come on,
Of
bring it on. I'm going
course.
to
Of
help you
course.
coming off the
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals." But
Yes.
it's he who
Yeah.
it's his own path, and he
Yeah.
needs to decide. And I'm not here to force things. I know quite well that you should not do these kind of things, but
Yeah.
it's the experience
Yes.
that hopefully will for him
Yes.
to continue his path.
Well, we need to consider life a little bit differently that we have been conditioned to believe, right? We are not only, as we said, we are not only this body, we are actually a multidimensional, spiritual, quantum energy being that is expressing itself through time and space. That is, by the way, an illusion anyway, because in this
Yeah.
beautiful quantum field, it's like I've experienced this. Why do I say that? Well, because I experienced that. I those of you who know 2020, I had the vision of the Lovetarian Way where I started to do deep meditative processes, breath of life of a friend of mine who is also my business partner and a number one best-selling author, the spell breaker, amazing mystic Brian D. Ridgway. He created this process called breath of life, and I would commit to it because I wanted to get some answers. And how do you get the answers from this field? Well, you need to become basically nothing. You just need to go into this field and disappear. Forget your identity, forget your people around you, forget your problems. You literally just melt into this field. So how do you do that? Well, of course, a great idea is to start doing breathing exercises
Yeah.
that were actually in this process. He took us through a trance like journey where we are breathing very in a brain heart brain coherence. You create a really beautiful environment in your body, and there are he's starting to repeat what he calls quantum questions. So he starts to, in essence, trick your mind to kind of get lost in space. And at certain point, with certain commitment, long enough, if you have actually patience and presence to commit to a process, you will experience that. And I've experienced that, and I was nothing. I was just floating in the field of nothing, and I was one with everything. And out of this field came light, and it was like I knew that the light represents us that are coming out of dark field, that are going to then express ourselves to the highest and best potential that each of us have. Each those little lights, we have the potential. And then the light became a butterfly, which actually represents the transformation of us as human
Yes.
beings. So we come here, right? We are born, we are forgetting everything about our spiritual nature, like amnesia. And then some of us have chosen, because we believe that we have chosen our parents, we have chosen where we're born, we have chosen to awaken in this lifetime, meaning awaken to the fact that you are not only the body, right? You are that multidimensional being. And then it might feel very uncomfortable. It might feel very
Can you say
uncomfortable.
that again?
And
Yeah.
you completely don't belong. So we want to tell you, people, if you are on this podcast, we obviously are attracted to something else. Something else is going on in your life, and that's perfectly fine. So then you can reach out to people such as Karima or people we had on the podcast, or go to the lovetarianway.com, because there are resources for people who feeling like weirdos. And it's actually perfectly natural part of this awakening journey, right?
Yeah.
You will feel very uncomfortable as the butterfly that is you birth itself to expand in the most beautiful way, maybe coming completely out of this so-called 3D life where everything is about materialistic possessions and career and all those goals. And there's nothing wrong with it, by the way. I want tons of stuff, I want tons of money, I am abundance, and I am all this. But the difference is I am not attached to any of those things. I know that this is just an experience, temporal experience, and I can actually use this wealth, uh, beautiful body, all those things. Actually, I can use it for the expansion and the benefit of all,
But
right?
that's what we were talking about before this podcast. When you tap into this infinite knowledge as that you talk
Yes.
about, then we're still living on this earth plane.
Yes.
And what we see, what we discussed a lot about,
Yes.
people who are going to this spiritual field and then they
And they don't want
expand
to come back.
themselves. And then but then it's like it's the focus,
Yeah.
the focus that we need
Yes.
in order to really manifest
Well,
these things.
let me ask you a question. What I mean, why did you come here to be a human? To float in the field all the
No,
time, or did you
no.
come here to do something?
It took me 20 years
Right?
to realize that.
But this is, it's like,
No, no.
my belief is, and the messages I've been receiving from my higher self and my family is that you've got the job here to do, woman. I
Yeah,
mean, whatever
yeah.
this job might be for you, you feel like there's something going on in here, because here, right here, is the seat, right? Is the seat. It's where your soul resides. Is the heart. The heart
Yeah.
is the strongest electromagnetic organ in our body. Is actually 5,000 times magnetically stronger than the brain, 1,100 times stronger electrically than the brain. So why would you allow your mind to take control of everything?
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
mind who is to be a servant of the heart. Actually, the way it happens, Heart Math Institute is doing,
I just
beautiful
wanted to mention
experiments.
that. Yeah.
Exactly, they are showing that the signal is coming from the heart to the brain to the body. So the heart actually is in charge.
Yeah.
And it radiates this beautiful field as you start becoming more and more Lovetarian, meaning you will start to live more from this high frequency love, gratitude, pillar 3 of the Lovetarian way. Live as though everything is a miracle. Once you understand that the shit in your life, all the poop, all the suffering, is actually great, it's miracle. I know. But I mean, look at me, 20 years of eating disorder. You had your
The
pharmaceutical
yeah.
adventure,
Yeah.
all sorts of financial ruin, all this. Actually, it's all for me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
you. So whatever crap you're going through, give yourself some credit. You have created this. Awesome. So you can now create something amazing.
Yeah.
What is your
Yeah.
heart telling you? What is your heart telling you? How to listen to your heart? What would you advise to people?
I would suggest, yeah, just allow, just sit and just close your eyes and just, go inward and then focus on your heart.
Maybe even put your hands on your heart, the
Yeah, you can even
somatic
put your
touch, right?
hands. Yes, exactly. And then you can feel the space filling up. It's like a very gentle, warm, tinkling feeling. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and you can feel that, as you said, the electromagnetic field is just expanding,
Expanding.
and it's actually much more than your body. It's like with the consciousness, it's also it's not it doesn't reside only in our
Yes.
body, in our
Yeah.
physical body. It's going way beyond that.
Yeah.
And they also say we have actually three brains, right? The brain, the gut brain, and the heart. And the heart is the most
Yeah.
strongest
Powerful.
and the
Yeah.
powerful.
Actually, the science shows us now that heart has 40,000 neurons in it. So the heart actually has its own brain.
Yeah.
We thought that the brain is the brain. No, this is the brain too.
Yeah.
Actually, every organ has their little brain, in fact, when you're really going to go deep into it. But the point that we're making here is it's not just spiritual woo woo blah blah to follow your heart.
Exactly.
That is answer
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
happiness.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
And that's what we also discussed. About heart-based entrepreneurship.
Exactly.
I have people coming into my practice where they're successful entrepreneurs. They're very practical. When they're focused and they do their things, but you see it's now going into the old ways.
Yeah.
And things are they're blocked, or they have jealous people around them, or government rules, all these kind of things. And I can already sense there is something big ahead of them, just
Yeah.
ready to be taken, actually.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that you have to quit your job or whatever, but you will do it in a new way.
Yeah.
And then you will, so actually it's leading by the heart, but take your brain as a
Exactly.
companionship.
Exactly.
Right?
Actually, one of my first programs was Mindset Academy, where we taught people how to convince your mind and focus your mind to follow your heart. But you
Yeah.
still need to have your mind. Oh my God, you create everything with the mind. You are projecting those images, your third eye, right? It's all going out there. However, if it's just going to be ego based, that's going to be a problem, because now the energies on planet Earth are all about oneness. They are about unity consciousness, about peace, joy, cleansing of all this patriarchal separatory matrices. That is done, dusted. It's ending. So if you're feeling this evolutionary push within yourself, within your body, understand that this is absolutely what you need to be feeling right now to have the courage to break up with suffering,
Yes,
break up
yes.
with conformism, break up with all those things. This is now a time of you to make some decisions, possibly that are going to be serving you, community, those
Letting
that you
go of that
love,
control.
letting go of control. So basically, it's a really funny process because with your mind you're going to have a vision, right? You're going to have a vision. Your thoughts are the domain of the mind. They are electric, right? So you have a vision, you think, you have an intention, but then you need your heart emotion to put it in action, and you need to
Yes.
feel
Yeah.
it with all your might. And thank God, because we say that thoughts create your reality, but it was thoughts creating your reality by themselves. We would be manifesting shit all around us, right? All the time. So you actually need the power of your heart, power of your emotion, the elevated emotion, the joy, love, gratitude, belief, courage, to actually get it into action, to have the manifestation, right?
Yeah.
And here's what we want to say. If you feel, because you might say, oh well, I'm not going to be spending my time dreaming, daydreaming, and all that. This is what you need to be doing,
Actually, it is a very
because
creative
that's, yeah,
process.
exactly, that
Yeah.
you're going to be communicating what you want to God, to source. I'm saying, this is what I want, this is my new life, my heart dreams this, and my mind will help me manifest this, right?
Yeah.
So when you have your vision, whatever it might be, or however crazy it might be, if it's coming from your heart, know it that it's already done in this field. It's already possible for you, but you need to then move your butt, and you need to take actions, inspired actions,
Yeah.
and you need to dare.
One of the important things also to mention is do your shadow work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh
Actually,
my God.
go
Yeah. Yeah.
go
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
these triggers. I know it's not one of the favorite
And there
things,
will
but
be a
it's
lot of
so
triggers.
important.
There will be a lot of triggers when you start to change. Welcome, baby. Darkness, my friend.
Yeah, yeah, really,
Yeah, you
yeah.
might want to talk a little bit about that, because we had a discussion about it, a big one.
Yeah, let me think. What kind of example to triggers?
But it's okay to feel,
Yeah, yeah.
that. Yes, yes,
I'm
yes.
about to move to
Yeah.
another place for myself, for the
Mhm.
tent as well, and actually. There were already parts in me that could feel in advance
Yeah.
without having a notice that we needed to move.
Yeah.
And when that word came really out, we need to move,
Yeah.
like maybe within in 1 week in the middle of the summertime in Spain. It was crazy. So I felt triggered, of course. So I can feel it in like the lower energy center where it resides around safety. It was like, and didn't sleep that night, and you feel all fired up. But there's also a part of me that says, yeah, but there is something bigger
Yeah.
waiting for you.
Yes.
So the rest of your system thinks, yeah, bring it on, and then it's your your tiny me in the body is like, I'm a bit scared.
Yeah.
But I know it sounds so cliche, but getting out of that comfort zone is where actually growth happens, and we
Yes.
can't have it without the triggers. It's just what it
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
right?
But maybe it will be very easy if we tell people, because a lot of people, especially in the love attraction field or whatever, are all talking about being super positive and so on. And I am all about positivity. I am not for, though, about like there's some negative feeling or there's darkness within me, and I'm just gonna put it under the carpet, because
No,
there's
no,
no
no.
carpet. It's gonna get into your body somewhere, and feelings buried alive, they
yeah.
never die. They'll come crawling
Especially,
back.
yeah.
So you need to process. Yeah, you need to
Yeah,
process.
yeah, and I
Do you
think
have some good
this.
advice? Oh, that microphone does not want to stay high.
No, it's just keep lowering, lower, like my voice low.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat the
Yes, the
question again?
question was
Yeah.
about how, when darkness comes, when fear comes, when negativity comes, what do we do with it? Because we can't bury it, we can't pretend it's not there. But we want to be so positive, and we want to be optimistic, and that's what I'm preaching. Focus on the light, focus on the love, focus on the positivity. However, we need to clean and clear, right?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
how would you advise people to do that? How to clean your energies?
What I've experienced, and for me, a large part of my healing process, and it's still ongoing, is processing emotions. So I've experienced now with the work that I do, the meditation that I do, things are coming up, and it really is sometimes not even a story attached to it. It's just it's just in my body that wants to come actually, to bring clarity and to really resolve. So in the beginning I can feel a little bit of panic, and then I'm trying to distract myself, going on Facebook or calling a friend. Or so I've learned throughout the years, just be present with it. And again,
Yes.
I call, well, he's at this moment my teacher, Kyle
Yeah.
Sees,
Yes.
and is an American comedian. And he's really, his work is all about
Mm-hmm.
processing these
Mm-hmm.
emotions in your body. He oftentimes says, you say to yourself, I'm allowed to feel uncomfortable in my
Yes.
body. I'm just allowed to feel grief in my body. So that's the first thing that you feel. It's very important when you have maybe trauma in your early childhood, whatever it is, you want to feel safe to do
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the environment where you are is very important.
Yes.
So if you're on the street or homeless, yeah, then it's like really difficult to say I
Yes.
feel safe, you know.
Yeah.
So the other thing is also, so the environment, your support team. You don't need to do everything alone. I had that for a long time in my
Yeah.
spiritual path. Yeah, you not being codependent, that's a different
Yeah.
thing, of course, but
Yes.
we need supportive
Yeah.
friends as
Yes.
well,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That you,
Yes.
and just, that's also the curse almost of the
Yeah.
wounded, no, the, yeah, what they say, the wounded healer, that
Yeah.
they think they need to do all by themselves.
Yes.
But it's actually not. It's
Well,
okay
remember
to
about
ask for
pillar
help.
two. I mean, the fact that I am Natalia and you are Karima, it's in a way an illusion, because energetically we all connected, and that's how we communities they grow in strength. Communities, people that
Yeah,
come together
yeah.
on the same frequency, they with the same purpose. We just talked about it, whether it's a marriage or it's a family or it's a group of friends, evolution together, it's like makes us stronger and more powerful, and that's how
Absolutely.
change happens easier. You can't do, I mean, maybe you could, but why would you? Why would you want to do it alone?
Also,
Actually,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you're never alone. That's what I'm saying. This is just an illusion. If you feel alone or lonely, you need to expand your perspective a little bit,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
actually, maybe people need to visualize and imagine that, is it possible there's somebody out there who cares for me, who could help me? And when you send that intention and you feel it in your heart, don't be surprised when somebody will come knocking and they
Oh,
will be just a
yeah,
perfect fit,
yeah,
because you as a soul might have put them on your way to come and
yeah,
help you when it's
yeah.
just too much for you sometimes.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah,
why we
yeah.
do what we do, because we create resources for people to come and look. You can watch whatever gazillion episodes. You have lots of tools. There are free classes where you can really empower yourself, and no, you don't have to do it alone.
But it's also the power of simplicity, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes just a phone call with your friend
exactly.
is just, you don't even need to put methods of healing or anything. You're
No.
just going to have a good talk. I
Yes.
had it last time when I traveled back and forth from the Netherlands to Spain. And always when I'm in the Netherlands and then I need to say goodbye to my family. And then, I come back and I feel a little bit this,
Yeah.
how do you call that? This combobulated. I don't know if
Yes,
that's the word. Yeah,
discombobulated.
like a
Yeah.
bit, out of balance. And one friend, and I don't always have contact, but when we do, it's like the day of yesterday.
Yes.
And she could just feel,
Yeah.
I needed to call you,
Yeah.
Karima. I
Yeah.
don't know why, and I was like, well, that's timely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we just had this conversation, which was just about, I don't know, not a specific topic or anything.
Yeah.
And then I felt a huge release,
Yeah.
and it was like, I could feel my central nervous system going from 8 on the scale of 10 to like a
Done.
4 or something like
Oh,
that, 3,
okay. Nice.
and by just having a conversation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's as if you tap into this quantum field where
Absolutely.
somebody get a ping like, oh,
Well,
I need to
you
call
are
them.
tapping into the field, and
Yeah,
somebody's picking
yeah.
up the phone.
Yeah, yeah. And I was not even
Yeah.
conscious busy with her or something. I was
No.
just busy
Yeah.
with
Yeah. Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that to me is like a sort of a proof that it really
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and the other way around.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, oh, I need to be in contact with someone because I don't dare to be alone right now, right? I
Mhm.
have that, and then nobody can at that point, and I'm
Mhm.
like, okay,
Yeah.
well, that means that I just have to process this alone. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that I
But let's
do it
make it
always.
demystify it a little bit, because you say process it alone, but is it true that we are ever alone? Actually,
Of course, on a higher level, we
exactly, but
aren't.
we need
But
to just say it, right? That of
yeah,
course we need those bodies and friends,
yeah,
but I also want, because people will be in circumstances where they might think they will go crazy because they forgot that they are always
exactly.
connected with their God, right? With
Yeah,
their higher self, with
yeah,
source. And how do you do that? You do it through your heart, through
yeah,
prayer, through meditation.
yeah.
Because sometimes you just don't have people around you and it's impossible, and maybe
Well,
you want to
that's
off yourself, right? So
yeah.
we're like,
That is actually what I
always,
mean.
yeah,
Yeah,
always remember that you always have your best body with you, your higher self, your source is always, it's always there.
yeah, yeah.
And the best way to connect with it, it's through the heart. You have
Yes,
to as
yes.
you just said, your nervous system went down because it was very
Yeah,
aroused. So
yeah,
what you need to do, you need to get present, you need to choose. So accept 100% responsibility. You say, I want to change, I'm
yeah.
willing to change, maybe not super much yet, but willing.
Yeah, yeah,
Willing.
yeah, yeah.
So you
Putting
need to
the
yeah,
attention out there.
exactly. So
Yeah.
people need to stop for a second, pause for a second, and then do the heart brain coherence. Check it on the website, lovetarianway.com. There is a process that I give you all the time. You just take deep breaths in through your nose,
Mm.
out through your mouth. Five in on a count of five, out on a count of five. Touch your heart and invoke some beautiful feelings. I don't know. Think about puppies. Think about kittens, flowers, whatever works for you, and just become calm. Calm yourself
But
down.
also walking in nature,
Absolutely, if you can.
or
But
if
like,
you can,
we're
yeah,
talking about different circumstances, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
sometimes you're
yeah,
like, hit shit hits the fan and you
yeah.
just can't
Because
do
sometimes
anything.
your body makes so much adrenaline,
Yes.
you just can't sit and like, oh, like you need to
Yeah.
move.
But that's why breath is so important,
Yeah.
because person, I mean, of course, if you have a psychotic incident, well, this is a different ball game.
Oh yeah.
But we're not, I suppose most of us here are not completely mentally insane. So basically, if you're just having a moment, you can just slow down the breath. That's step number one.
Yeah.
Slow down. And if you can go, absolutely, if you can, if you have a punching bag, I love it, or a pillow,
Yeah.
smash the shit out of it.
Oh yeah.
you know
Sometimes screaming really,
Healthy, really,
it really
yes,
helps.
screaming,
Yeah.
dancing, going,
Yeah.
do something with your body, because the body remembers the subconscious mind, and that's where all those emotions are sitting, and they're making you crazy.
Yeah.
It's like a biochemical cocktail that wants you. I remember a few years ago, I almost, I was doing such a powerful release that I literally felt such incredible rush of energy that I had to stop myself with a pillow, because my hand wanted to go and smash the wall,
Well,
and I
yeah,
would have.
yeah,
I would have.
yeah.
So instead, I just went with this real movement, and I just screamed the loudest
Oh,
scream.
yeah.
Thank God neighbors were not here, because they would think my husband is trying to murder me or something. But it was incredibly
Yeah,
releasing.
yeah, it
It
is.
was incredibly
Absolutely.
releasing,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I even remember that I was throwing some old
Yeah.
tiles, like smashing them, and that sounds of this cracking sound is
And we
just
might
really
want to, yeah, but
satisfying.
we might want to give people permission, for healthy release, because a lot of people, women especially, were
Oh,
programmed,
around
right?
anger,
Or
my
you
God,
should,
yeah,
ladies shouldn't do this, ladies shouldn't do that, you
yeah.
should,
It's
oh,
not
girls,
appropriate.
fuck the shit
Shit.
up. I mean, don't hurt anyone, of course, in the process,
No,
but find
no.
yourself a space where you can do it.
Yeah, so important. Really, it really is. Yeah.
And if a person that you're with does not understand it, well, that's another journey.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's like,
Again, a safe space, people that you can trust around,
exactly.
that, yeah, just see who you are, and the process that you need to go through.
And why would it be smart to do that? Because if you're not going to do that, and that's not a threat, it's just a fact of energy transmutation. If you're not going to release or do something with those negative emotions, it will be later called dis-ease.
It's really
Body out
trapped
of
in the body.
ease. Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether it will be in your liver because you've been pissed off for all your life,
Yeah.
or in your throat or wherever, or your
Yeah.
breasts. It's all, body, as we said, is a blueprint, and every
And
organ
it's
has a
such an
meaning.
intelligent system.
Exactly.
I mean, I did only one course of the myofascia
Yeah.
massage. It was incredible. I still need to continue with that, because
Yeah.
already there
Fascinates
can
you.
come so much out of it
Yeah.
by actually doing tiny movements. It creates like a ripple effect in the rest of the
Yes.
body, and just
Yeah.
release all these things that are trapped
Yeah.
inside,
Yeah.
whether it's memories or pain or
Yeah.
Yeah, and people
Amazing.
come back to me and they say, "Yeah, you really we both relieved that
Yeah.
symptom. It's gone. It's not there anymore." Yeah,
Yeah, and it's also interesting that sometimes we feel intuitively like we need to touch ourselves something or do the
yeah,
stretch. Why do you think you need to do that? Because something is stuck there. So
yeah.
listen, tune into your body, right? Tune into your body and just don't tune into its needs to eat like crappy food and all of that, because that
Hmm.
brings us to pillar four.
Chocolate,
Yeah, well, chocolate.
caffeine.
Yeah, well, everything is for the people, right? But then you want to see what you're doing with it, if you are maybe overindulging, and why, right? So what emotions are you dealing with?
Being conscious of that.
Being
That is key. Yeah,
conscious. Yes,
yeah,
exactly. And well, we realize that a lot of people maybe can't afford only organic food or whatever, and eat only super duper. But then what really helps is that's Lovetarian nourishment. Everything is energy. So bless your food.
yeah. Very important also.
Bless your food.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who couldn't, and they just blessed their food, and their life transformed, their health transformed, because of they really believed that blessing the food, saying thank you, actually helps, and it did.
Again, that's the power of the mind, right? I mean,
Exactly.
you see that lately also, the whole thing around veganism and
Yeah.
vegan, and you know I do believe when we're going into higher states of consciousness, then you need less food,
Mm-hmm.
right? But yeah, maybe I'm gonna trigger some people. I don't know, but
Well,
I
that is
sometimes
not
need.
your responsibility.
That's true. I sometimes
I don't
need
eat meat.
meat,
You don't trigger
and
me.
no, and you don't eat meat. So
Yeah.
in a way, you need to respect the needs of your body in
Mm-hmm.
that time frame where you are at. And if you have this, then I will say, dogma that you
Yeah.
think you're not allowed to eat it,
Yeah. You
it's
create guilt,
you
actually,
create guilt.
shame,
And
and a
what
lot of
what does that
problems.
do for you, right?
No, I'm,
I
I'm
mean,
glad you actually said that, because veganism. I don't call myself a vegan. I say I focus on whole foods, plant based
yeah,
mainly. But I
yeah,
do have a need to eat fish sometimes, or some organic dairy. If my body needs it, my body needs it.
yeah,
For me not to eat animals is more a spiritual choice. I
yeah,
consider
yeah,
them
yeah.
my brothers and sisters. I don't necessarily want to eat them. However, if I was, I don't know, somewhere in a jungle and I didn't have anything to eat but berries, maybe I would have to hunt a deer and eat it. And I would
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
thank you, deer, for your life. And I actually believe that that deer would want to be eaten if it allowed me to kill it, because, I believe that every being has its own
yeah,
path,
yeah,
right? And if it was
yes.
on my path and looked at me and said, okay, take me, then I would.
Okay.
I would. But my point is, I'm not eating meat because of the meat industry, right? The
Yeah,
way
yeah, yeah,
animals are
yeah,
treated. So that is just not cool for me, and that doesn't sit well. Actually, it would make me feel worse to eat that
yeah.
meat than whatever my body might need. I just created an idea for myself that I don't want to put anything in my body that is associated with suffering.
Something. Yeah,
With
yeah, yeah,
suffering,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Which is of course very
But then
plausible.
again, that's really a spiritual choice, right?
Yeah,
And we must remember that we are all different. We have
and
different
not
needs.
judging each other on
Exactly,
based
that's
on
the
these
thing.
kind
I
of
mean, a
things.
lot of my God, my family, they all crazy meat eaters. I was a crazy meat eater. My God, when I moved down here, we stopped eating meat in 2012. I told my parents, and my dad was like, "Isn't that extreme? How are you gonna nourish yourself? Oh my God!" All this thing about protein, and by the way, there's tons of protein in plant based, more than you need, right? But that's a totally different story. It's like
Yeah,
the belief, actually, as we said, feelings and thoughts, they are so mind, emotions, they are much more important than actually what you're gonna eat
that is the
specifically.
thing.
Because
Absolutely, I believe that
we know
absolutely.
about
Yeah.
breatharians, they don't eat
The
and they
first
live.
time when I heard that a couple of years ago, I was like fascinated
Ah,
about that. I was like,
yeah,
wow,
yeah.
how can you do that?
Well, I'm here to say I have not eaten for 10 days, and people say, "Oh, what? Like, have you had energy?" Like, I'm not gonna lie, of course, first few days it's a little bit weird, because
Weird,
the body's like,
yeah.
I want, I want, I want. But then you do meditation, you drink water, you drink, yeah, maybe if you drink coffee, fine, drink coffee. You don't do cleanse, why not? But don't, I didn't eat. And I was, after a few days, I had more energy that I had when I was eating.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And do you do a fast juice then,
No, no,
or
no, no
no?
juicing, nothing. I just
Wow.
water, coffee, organic,
Yeah,
just
organic
because I did
coffee.
not need the headache. But a lot of people will go all the way and not have coffee. But I'm not addicted to coffee, and I can have 1 cup and I'm fine with that. So just a little bit to keep myself sharp, and herbal teas, and that was it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Wow.
I was perfectly fine. And some people think that you might lose tons of weight and stuff like that, but it's actually, when you are fasting, you're increasing your metabolic rate, so you're not putting your body in starvation. Body is utilizing all the fat that you have. And I'm sorry, unless you have 1% body fat, which very few of us do, fat is actually, it's storing a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
don't
yeah.
worry, you're not going to die. I mean, if you believe you will die, you might. So be very, very conscious. Do the research about power and biology of belief. Dr. Bruce Lipton wrote a
Yeah.
great book
Yeah.
about it. What you believe runs the show, meaning your life.
Yeah.
So I believed I was perfectly fine. I did research. I read into Dr. Chang, who wrote a lot about fasting. And I said, okay, because I wanted to
It's
see.
so powerful, and the
Yeah, but
fasting.
all the
Yeah.
programming that, oh, no, I'm going to be, I'm not going to have nutrients. I'm not going to have this. I'm not going to have that.
There's a lot of programming around that,
I'm
right?
sorry to say that
Yeah.
this is BS. I was perfectly fine. Of course, don't do it if you're going through some treatment. Don't do it if
Or
your health is in
diabetic.
trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Find a
Yeah.
doctor who knows about fasting, naturopathic doctor
And
ideally,
build
and
it up gradually,
build
also.
it up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm here to tell you that it's an amazing adventure, because, as you said, the more we ascend higher and higher in our consciousness, actually we don't need so much food. And I am here to tell you that this is absolutely true for me, because when
I
I do
sense
a
that
lot of
too.
fasting, because I don't want to eat when I'm not hungry. What for? Then I'm actually poisoning my body, because my
Yeah.
body doesn't need it.
Need it.
But
Yeah.
there are days when I need to be very grounded, and I would eat 10,000 calories, and that's perfectly fine too. Like, I feel like having one of those days, or two or
Oh,
three or
yeah.
whatever, and then I don't. And it's nothing to do with dieting, it's nothing to do with deprivation. I'm an expert on uh mind body connection when it comes to food. Having 20 plus years of eating disorder, I have been to hell
Wow.
and
Yeah.
back, and I
Yeah.
have done a lot of research about that. So I'm feeling very, very safe talking about those topics.
Yeah.
And also, I will never tell anybody to go and do something without really proper consultation with maybe a
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
nutritionist or a
Yeah.
doctor, naturopathic doctor, whatever, because I don't know people's circumstances,
No, that's absolutely true.
and I
That's
don't know
absolutely
people's
true.
belief systems, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
everything is energy, and tell that energy is actually in the
Yeah,
air.
that now I understand more the breatharian way,
Exactly.
which in the beginning I really didn't had a grasp of it, but now I did a lot of intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Just to introduce myself, because I can be really greedy when it comes to food. I'm like,
Well,
you know,
you like to enjoy yourself.
I'm like a Homo
I'm a
sapien,
foodie. I love food, by the way.
So to constrain
Constraint.
myself, for that, well, then
Yeah.
comes discipline and everything. And people who know me personally know
Yeah.
how I am with food. Um, yeah, well, just a couple of days ago, I did a 2 days fast, like very strict, no
Mm-hmm.
sugar, no caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
But I could feel the sharpness of my
Yeah.
mind. I got really, really sharp
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
And it was not easy with the heat in
No, no,
Spain at the
no. Of
moment,
course.
but you can feel literally your body recalibrating itself.
Recalibrating. Yeah,
So maybe the
exactly.
next time I'm gonna do a 3 day or 4 day.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
still, so
Feel into it.
yes,
Yes. Yeah.
yes, very much so. Yeah,
But I'm gonna say that, I mean, above everything, and this is a scientific fact, and there's just I don't care who's gonna have a discussion with me about that. It's like, if you believe that you can do it, you will be able to do it. If you believe you won't be able to do it, it will be very, very difficult for you.
yeah,
So if you're gonna attempt anything, any change, you need to first of all have a vision, and you need to believe in that vision, and you need to believe in yourself that you can. Otherwise, you're gonna give yourself so much pain and suffering,
suffering. Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
mind over body. At the end of the day, it is mind over body. Body is a very dense form of energy that grounds our being into here and now, in this illusion of a 3D reality. But it's still very powerful. The body is
yeah,
very powerful. However, there's nothing more powerful than your mind and your heart, really,
yeah,
that you have at your disposal. So if you can imagine that you can do it, and if you can feel it that you can do it before you do it, it's going to be
yeah,
so much easier.
yeah,
You know about
yeah.
mental rehearsal, the athletes, before they go into a race or they go into a field, or business people or whatever, they imagine the situation in their minds. and then they
Yeah,
go
yeah, they
into it.
visualize already
Yeah,
as
the
if, yeah,
visualization,
yeah,
visualization that is empowered by emotion is super powerful, because you're literally in this quantum field of infinite possibilities. You're already telling the field, this is what I want,
and you
and
trick
you're
your brain
walking
actually,
into
yeah,
it. Yeah,
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 because the
yeah,
brain, scientifically, the brain does not know the difference whether it is
exactly,
actually happening
yeah,
or you're just imagining.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
the power of
It's
imagination.
fascinating.
And this is actually one of our most amazing gifts that we were given. And of course, children know it. And what do adults do? Oh, this kid has a big imagination. Well, thank God. And we should all be like childlike, not childish, but childlike.
Like, yeah,
So
yeah.
dare to dream again, dare to imagine again what your life could be like,
Oh, that's so nice to do
right?
that, really,
Yeah.
and no, and not seeing any restrictions around it. Of course, they are, but
Yeah.
when you want to make it
Yes.
into reality, of course. But it's nice. Yeah, we should be as a child more, really.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. Allow yourself to dream. Imagine a different life that you have if you're not happy with the one. Let your heart dream the dreams.
As I said, with what I have with the tent, it's like
Yeah,
also a concept. I would
yeah,
love to. I have a little bit of a nomadic lifestyle. I
yeah,
like that.
yes,
Don't want to have lots of stuff around me.
yes,
It's just my choice,
yes,
and I feel very light with it. But I also love to co-create. For instance, to have like hubs from different tents, and where you can do swaps, and where you can have creative workshops, and where somebody says, oh, now I need to go for a couple of days to the
yeah,
Netherlands, or I
yeah,
need to go to Portugal,
yeah,
and then you do swaps with each other, because then
yes,
they want to have a workshop on, I don't know what, de-armoring,
yeah,
or just name it.
yeah,
And to be able to co-create like that is the vision that I
yes,
see for myself,
yeah,
which is nice, because we all have a piece of a puzzle,
absolutely,
right? And
absolutely,
you have something that I don't have, and that creates synergy, actually.
yeah,
So I know I am a person of vision and this enthusiastic, and I love to have people around me that are more grounded.
yes, that's right. Yeah, 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 yeah,
The accountants,
yeah,
and thinking, well, Karima, it's nice that you think, but think about the practical ways. And then I say,
yes.
I have you.
No, but I mean, like one of the things we said at the beginning, we are here having a human experience, so we need to take care of the human part of it as well.
Yeah,
Otherwise, there will be
yeah,
again um, experience of being lost and not knowing how to deal with this so-called reality. We can always create new reality. That's the thing. We can
yeah,
always create a new reality, but here's the thing: we can create it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not like magical aliens are going to do it for us. They are
No, take
absolutely
inspired
available to
action.
help us, but we had a discussion here before. Also, be very mindful when you start hearing voices, when you start
Oh,
hearing
yeah, or
helpers
channeling,
or
or
channeling, who you're gonna work with, because there's a lot of lovely beings that are coming from high dimensions, but there's also little assholes out
yeah.
there who are not so benevolent, right? So who are you going to listen to? You must really filter everything through your heart, through your intuition,
Yes,
and see how that feels for you. And but don't confuse it with being afraid of getting out of your comfort zone, because sometimes when you want to do new things, it will feel like,
exactly.
oh, it will feel like
Yeah,
crap, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
But
That's absolutely true.
yeah, but we know we all have that ticker, right? That gut feeling about this person or that thing, that it just does not feel right. If it doesn't feel right, not that you are afraid, it doesn't feel right,
Then don't
something is
proceed.
off, don't do nothing, leave nothing undone. Only
Yeah,
do, yeah, only do when you really feel. So there's Gandhi said it, alignment between your mind, your heart, and your actions. So your thoughts, your feelings, your actions need to be in alignment, and the words that you speak, right? Then you're
yeah.
creating incredibly powerful vortex. You become like electromagnetic powerful house magnet, that it will actually come to you. So you don't have to do so much. Sometimes you can be magnetic to things, to
It's really that
circumstances.
balance,
Yeah, it's
but
that
that
balance.
comes along with having this human experience,
Yes,
right?
and
Sometimes
practice
you
also.
practice, and sometimes you go towards a direction, and you feel it's like, okay, that's not quite it. Well, then you go back
Yeah.
to that point where you started.
Recalibrate, be reborn in
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
and then you take inspired action again,
Yes.
and that is what I have with the vision. I try to envision something that I want, but then I let it go.
Yes.
I send it out in the universe, or I don't know how you call it, but and then I let it go, and then
Mhm.
eventually it will come to me. And
Yeah,
I have many proofs of that, even with
absolutely.
tiny things. And that's just wonderful.
No, 100%. And I always, when I set my visions or my goals, I say, for the benefit of all, for my highest and best good, for the highest and best good of everyone, because our job is to imagine, it's to take action. Our job is not to necessarily know how and all the details, not to be a
No.
total control freak. By the way, me, total control freak, like years ago. So, when I let that go, so it's like you are becoming a co-creator. We say co-create, you have an on earth, because you actually co-create with your higher self, with that part of you that knows everything
Yeah, yeah,
about you,
yeah.
right? So if you can surrender the needs of your ego, that it has to be exactly this way, so I have that, want that card, it has to be red and da, 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 da. And what if it's white?
Yeah.
What if it's a
Then what?
different model, then what? Because it's better for you, right? So there is the higher knowing, and if you can tune into it and surrender more while you're still very proactive and taking action and visualizing and imagining and daring, that's going to be a beautiful dance of
Absolutely.
energies.
And even when you think the odds are not in your favor, they actually
Maybe
are.
they actually are, right? It's like
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
we don't. That's the
yeah,
thing. Sometimes we don't get something and we're like, oh, but you didn't get it. Maybe it wasn't for you.
yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't for you.
yeah,
And that's why you didn't get it,
yeah.
because something better.
It's
So,
coming along.
but that's
Yeah,
what I
it's
like to.
training. Really, it's training. It's very easy said than done, right? But to convince
Yeah,
your
no,
body
no,
to go
absolutely.
to certain direction,
Yeah,
and then you're like, yeah, but what if, and what, and it's
yeah,
like this reptilian part of the brain that
yeah,
comes
yeah,
and trying to search for safety or whatever, and then even just, yeah, try to pull
yeah,
yourself into this 0 point field,
yes,
and just allow, as
yeah,
I said, allow to have this anxiety in your body. It's all
yeah,
okay, it's part of this human experience, and then you will see the
yeah.
benefits of it.
Yeah, and also it's very smart, scientifically very smart, to really focus on loving, wonderful, the Lovetarian nourishment, loving thoughts for your mind, body, spirit, because it's actually healthy for you. Negative emotions, they actually destroy your neural pathways. It's science, neuroscience.
Mm.
If you're going to focus on the light, positivity, optimism, nobody knows enough to be negative. Sorry. Nobody knows enough. You always say, what if up? So something happens. I say, what if up? What if this is actually better for me? And I just don't know yet what it is. But what if it is something better
Even more
coming?
better, yeah,
Exactly. And
yeah,
that's, you need to train yourself, literally train yourself to believe in possibility, to
yeah,
believe in always there is something good coming to me from known and unknown sources. Literally
absolutely, yeah.
all this, it sounds like gibberish, right? All these affirmations and stuff. No, it's actually scientifically proven that it's good for your brain, good for your body, good for your life. And living in a dark, deep hole and dwelling there, I mean, don't get me wrong, we need to process our emotions. Absolutely, we must process, but don't dwell there. At some point, you need to say, okay, that's no,
That's it.
enough,
It's just not going to
enough,
help.
enough,
Or
enough
and
now, right?
sometimes it even can mean that you have to change environment.
Absolutely, because we said, pillar one, we are all one, we're connected, and I am very sensitive to energies on every level. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, it's like we were just discussing before. Karima said that I'm feeling this evolutionary push now to leave Costa Blanca. I'm going to Poland now for a few weeks to work in a different environment and possibly get out of here, maybe even this year, and move to
Yeah.
another place, because I've been here for 10 years and it's been wonderful and healing. I'm healed. I'm ready to expand. Some parts of myself have been healed, that those that needed to be healed here, and now
Yeah.
I'm ready to move to another chapter,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I trust that everything will align for my highest
It's
and
gonna.
best good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
it's actually adventurous,
it is an
right?
adventure. And
Yeah.
I believe that what happened with Corona, Shmorona, and all this period was actually an eye-opening experience for a lot
Yeah.
of people
A
who
lot.
actually
Yeah.
opened their minds for a different way of living,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 They saw the world for what it really is, and that
Yeah.
you can be dependent on it's your safety, and
Yeah.
then when the
It's
fundament is
illusionary, right?
yeah, yeah, and then you have to rely on yeah, create a new vision actually.
Exactly.
And again, sovereignty is where
Yes.
yeah,
But
yeah,
when you think about it, it's like we have been created as those beautiful beings of infinite possibilities, and we can become a small butterfly or a huge butterfly, whatever butterfly size works for you.
yeah, yeah,
But
exactly,
even
yeah,
when the butterfly is birthing, there is evolution, there is
oh
pain,
yeah,
there is, if we're gonna help too
growing
much,
pains
yeah,
also.
growing pains, exactly. If we're gonna help it too much, like external influences, you need to be willing to like birth yourself from within, with your
Yeah.
sovereign connection, and trust that you're never alone, that there's always benevolent universe.
Yeah.
Everything happens for you, nothing happens to you. You're not a victim. You
No.
are an empowered being who's got this.
Yeah.
And yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, ask for help if you need help, and you will get
Yeah.
it, because
Yeah.
if you ask, it is given.
That is also important thing,
Yeah,
that we need to ask sometimes,
absolutely.
even if it's our own guides
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
our family and
And we
friends.
have the whole crew in spirit and in
Yeah,
physical life if
yeah.
we
I
wish
need to
to.
remind myself that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
And showing gratitude for the things that you
Absolutely.
already have. That's
Absolutely.
so
Pillar
incredibly
3, live as
powerful.
though everything is a
Yeah,
miracle. Embrace gratitude.
yeah,
Because it
absolutely.
uplifts you. It literally uplifts your entire being.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And it's like when we say thank you, for something, we're already feeling amazing in our body. But why not to say thank you in advance? Thank you for
yeah.
the blessings on their way to me now. I don't know how, I don't
No,
see
that's
them
a
yet,
beautiful one.
but thank you
Yeah,
for the blessings on their way to
with
me
me
now.
now. That's
Right?
also a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it. That's
like-
one of my favorites. Like when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, Divine, play your music through me for the benefit of all. Play your music, my music. Let's have fun. And thank you for the blessings on their way to me now. Only good can come to me. Only good comes to me. And I literally brainwash myself. Literally, if my brain is not awesome in the morning, sometimes it happens,
yeah,
energies
yeah.
are not great. I literally do incantations. So I shout, I scream, I see the pillar of light, and I'm like, I'm doing the whole, shamanic,
Shamanic
shamanic,
shebang.
shabang. And it's necessary sometimes. It's necessary
Yeah.
because I take responsibility for how I'm going to show up to the world, because I can get out of my bedroom and meet the world and it's like, "Ugh." But if I come with
Wanna go
that
back
energy,
again.
everything, this field mirrors our innermost feelings.
Yeah.
So it's, if
Yeah.
you are having hell inside, you will go outside and you will see hell everywhere. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
that's
that
how
is
it works.
just how it works. I know.
So you want to maybe tend to the garden of yourself before you go out, so-called out there, and get your feedback.
Taking out the weeds.
Exactly. Clean the field, right? Take the weeds out of your consciousness and start planting new seeds, right? And tend to the garden
Yeah. Yeah.
of your consciousness, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Woman, 1
Yeah.
hour. Thank you. So
Yeah,
what
thank
have
you.
what final words have you got? So we have energy healing. What advice? 3 golden nuggets. What can you give our people? How to take care of their energies, how to work with you, but 3 things first.
One thing I would also say, um, enjoy this journey. I know it's not always easy, but don't take yourself too seriously.
Oh yeah, laughter is
Yeah,
awesome.
laughter, sense of humor. Just, sometimes we can take ourselves so serious. Um, be with the people who inspire you. Very important.
Thank you, girlfriend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, it uplifts your energy
Yes,
directly.
it does.
But also, don't judge yourself if you have a
Oh
bad
yeah.
day. I
Yeah.
mean, these energies at the moment are ramping up big
Intense,
time.
yeah.
So, I have sometimes tell to myself, okay, if you just with this hot weather, it's very normal for
Oh, if
Spanish.
you're somewhere else, but yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, also, of course, sorry, I'm referring to.
We are in a
Or
very hot
it's-
Spain now.
Yeah, or even it's storms outside,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
just allow yourself to have watching some Netflix or something else. I don't know what nurture your inner
Change your
child as
state.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
Because that will release the pressure of always
Yeah.
being the best version of yourself. Sometimes you don't have days
Oh,
like
you
that,
just
and
have
that's
compassion,
okay.
compassion for yourself,
Compassion, yeah,
and self-love.
yeah,
Yeah.
and stay curious.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like
Stay
once
curious.
that's a very good one. We didn't talk about it. This is super important, because when some negativity comes, it's very difficult sometimes with affirmations to kick the shit out of it. But you can go like, you can ask the negativity like, is that true? Do you know for a fact that it's true? And you can start playing with your mind. You can start asking quality. Tony Robbins said it, quality of your questions define the quality of your life.
Yeah.
You need to choose the questions that are empowering, because if you're gonna go with downward spiral, you will
get
bury
more of that as
yourself.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why is this happening for me? How is this for me? Can you
Yeah.
show me how this is for me?
But also,
know?
I would say putting up healthy boundaries.
Oh yeah, sometimes you need to,
important.
if you,
Yeah.
sometimes you need to. You don't need 10,
Saying
10
no is
people telling
okay,
you, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Saying no to someone else at that
Yeah.
moment is actually saying yes to yourself.
Absolutely.
That is,
Absolutely.
and I know I'm not mastering it yet, but I do it more
We're
and
all
more.
in the process, yes.
Exactly, I do it
Yeah.
more and more, and it gives a relief. It's
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 okay to
self-respect.
be, yes, exactly. It's okay to love yourself first. It's absolutely a must, I would say, to love
Yeah.
yourself first.
Yeah.
And, when you heal, when you really clean and clear your garden of your consciousness, is all flowers and butterflies and Lovetarian and all, then you go out there and share your light. But there might be a moment where you need to just do it with
Yeah.
only the people that are lovely, right?
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
with these people, and then you can deal with the triggers later. Because let's be honest, it's not the people that are assholes or telling you things, it's how you, again, how 100% responsibility,
How
how
you
you're
react
going to
to it.
react or respond, not
Yeah.
react but respond, right? It's your responsibility. So to have a high responsibility and be really zen, you need to be in a good place.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So, well, thank you. Is there something
Thank
else you would
you.
like to say to our lovely viewers? Hi, hi. Some lovely girlfriends are there. Nobody had any questions. Quiet audience today.
Yeah.
That's
Doesn't
cool.
matter.
No, if you have any
Yeah.
questions, just ask them in the comment box. We can always answer later on.
Yeah.
You have a inner journey, the 10.com. That's how to contact Karima. Of course, the lovetarianway.com. There's everything is there, and this podcast will be there as well.
And if you come from, this area and you're
You want a
curious about
healing,
an
yeah.
energy healing reading,
Yeah.
like just having this experience
Yeah,
and
it's
see
just
what
an
comes out
amazing
of it.
experience. Yeah, I do my
It's very
emotional
personal.
hygiene with you
Yeah.
once per month or something. So it's really lovely. And actually, you also help with physical ailments.
Yeah,
So if you have
I
any
do.
back pain or whatever,
Yeah.
she can help with that as
Can
well,
also
right?
be on a very practical level, but it
That's right.
can also be on a very galactic level. That's what
Exactly.
I love about my
Yeah.
work.
Whatever it is that you need, she is very good energy reader, and she will read you like a Bible.
No.
Nothing can hide. But don't worry, you're in very good hands. She is very, very, very good
Yeah.
healer. I'm very pleased with Karima's services.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Well, okay, then. So we're going to wrap this up and we're going to wish you a fabulous day. And I'll invite you to join me on the podcast with Adrian Valls next Wednesday, which is, I think, second or third. I don't know, linear time.
Yeah.
Adrian has been teaching transcendental meditation since 1976 when I was born. So the dude, he's got the wisdom. So join me then. And thank you very much. Share, share, share,
Thank you.
comment. Yeah, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a lovely day or night wherever you are in the world. We're gonna go now. Thanks.